All right, all you devils, how we doing? Sam here with you. Friday, June 12th here, kind of middle of the day. Now we're going to get to Bitcoin in a second here. Before we do, just a little housekeeping here, something I'd like to draw your attention to. So we're going to be surveying our members, and we'd like as many of our YouTube subscribers to participate because we're looking for some information, right? It's all relative to where we go next in terms of new material that we'd like to introduce to both members. And for those of you that are, follow us on YouTube, there'll be some value for you here as well. So we're looking for participation. So as a result of that, we're going to bribe you to participate, right? I mean, how many surveys have you gotten in your email that you blow off because you don't have the time or the interest? Well, we figured if we bribed you, maybe we'd get a better response here. So this will be a random drawing. We'll do it at the end of next week. So it's between this Friday and next Friday. I'll probably announce the winner next Friday on that Bitcoin video. So first prize will be 0.05 of a Bitcoin. That it's probably right around $500 right now as we sit here. But again, there'll be a function on the price of Bitcoin. Second prize will be 1 month of educational. That's $199 value. And third will be social membership. Again, it's just a random drawing. The only requirement is, well, one, that you participate in the survey, but you can't participate in the survey unless you're a member. Now that includes all the free members. So if you're watching on YouTube and you've not yet made the move to join us as a free member, well, that would be the way that you could participate in this survey. Right? No requirement, no credit card, nothing like that. We just, of course, there's benefits of being a free member. Of course, you get access to all the crypto deep dives and you get access to the white belt, right? We've been over that many times. But we're trying to get some information so that we can tailor with the new educational material towards the interest level and the resource availability to, some markets require more capital than others. So we want to make sure we're not presenting a lot of new information about some things like option trading where we're going to price out the vast majority of our members because they don't have the capital between what they're already doing, perhaps in crypto, and then to add a new asset class. We're just trying to get a feel for whether or not we would be presenting material that would be a good fit. So since there's no, when you join us, as whether it's a paid member or as a free member, there's no KYC. We know a little bit about you. We know your name and we know your Discord handle. That's about it. So we're trying to draw some more information. So the kind of things we're looking for. Are you diversified across assets, or are you crypto only, or are you futures or FX only and no crypto? We're just trying to get a feel for the level of interest in different markets. And then to some degree, we're trying to get a feel for what our typical members' account size is. Now, we know from working with members over the last couple of years, we've got 7-figure accounts and we've got 3-figure accounts. So we've got a really wide range. But particularly as it would relate to those that follow us just on YouTube, there, it's kind of a guess. So the best that we can do is make kind of an estimation based on information that we can get from YouTube. So let me give you an example. So this is I think this is over the last 2 years of our YouTube views, right? So we use this kind of as a proxy so we can get a feel. So let me get my little pen here. So if we look down here in terms of the age range of people that are subscribing, well, we can see that essentially, right here, let's get my pen here. So it's almost, I thought I had a pen right here. There we go. All right. So right here is roughly 80% of our viewers, right? And we're from that, we're deducing that this would be an approximation to those that have joined us, again, as either free or paid members. 80% of our members are between 25 and 44. Well, okay, so I understand that. So certainly here in the 25 to 34, that's likely to be crypto focused, right? That's the age range where you're interested in crypto. Here, we're kind of in between. But if we look at this from 25 to 44, these are earning years, but this is not typically where you're going to find, trading accounts of 50K and above. Right? That tends to be more out here. So if you think about the average, age of a Bloomberg or a CNBC viewer is a 50-year-old male. So if we think out here in the 45 to 65 range, this is where you tend to get trading accounts in excess of 50K, right? That's more common, right? And it's much higher, right? But that would be, these are the peak earning years, and they tend to be where you're focused on investments for retirement. Now down here in this range, this is where you're still learning about the markets, and that's, obviously why we draw as educators. This is why we draw in this age bracket. But this age bracket tends to be in the 10 to 20K, right? That's the typical range here. Well, so there's a limitation here in terms of how much diversification you can do, particularly if you're, holding some bags and just your available trading capital is limited because of what you've already got invested in crypto or in other markets. So we're kind of trying to reconcile between the two of those. So one of the things that we've been talking about doing, and it suits my background and my skill level as an educator, because I spent 10 years as an options broker. So people have asked about that and are interested in option trading, but I have been a little bit hesitant to go there based on this very information, because to be quite frank with you, to trade an options account, whether it be prime futures or equities, really that's a 10K account and above, really, to do it effectively. And the way that we would teach it to you, where it would be multiple spreads and hedging, and there's a lot of material there. It's a deep dive to go into the options market, but we just want to make sure that we're not introducing something that would only be accessible to maybe 15% of our membership or our viewers down here, right? So we look here, it's 15% of our viewers are from 45 to 65. So that's why we're doing this survey, so that we can get a feel for what's the right product mix here in terms of introducing some of you guys to new things. Now, maybe we get back the survey and 2% are interested in options. All right, so we get our answer there. If it's a very high percentage, well, that's a different story, but then it's a question of what type of options, because there's different ways we can approach it. So if you're in the 20K and under range, there may be some lower cost ways or some very short-term option trading that we could look at, as opposed to if you're in the 25 to 50 in a higher range, that would be a different approach to the market. So that's the whole point of it. So when I tell you that we're just trying to do this, so as I said yesterday, help me help you, right? Help me tailor the new material, the new educational content, towards what will be the best fit for our viewers on YouTube as well as our members, again, whether free or paid. So again, to participate, the only thing you need to do is join us on our website, right? And the link will be directly below the video in the description. It's the very first link that you'll see. That will take you to TradeDevils.com. You can join us on the free membership that will drop you into the Discord, right? We're not going to beat you up and say, when are you going to join? When are you going to join? We don't do that. That's not our style. You will get access to some of the content. You will get access to the white belt, but then you can participate in this membership. If you like it, terrific, right? Perhaps you want to take a progressive step up from free to social, see some of the live streams. Perhaps you do the white belt and then you want to go into blue belt, right? That would require an educational membership. But we just want that information for you, all right? So, the other thing here that I'll just quickly here, and then we will get to Bitcoin here. Having gone through this, I thought I would show you this. So this is today. This is my, so I do a lot of S&P day trading. We have a relatively active day trading room in terms of members that this is all they do, is they day trade futures with us. And these are all custom tools that we designed here. You've seen me talk about it a little bit before, but this is them all put together. This would be the template if you were investing in our tool suite here. So these are all custom. So this is the Wicked Wave, the Devil's Edge, and the Devil's Pitch, and then we have custom bars here and all sorts of things that we do with relative to the market. So I just did a screenshot so I could show you here what this looks like. Now, I want to emphasize here, so in the very high volatility, because these bars are, these Renko bricks are sized based off of the volatility. So today and yesterday as well, in the midst of this extremely high volatility, these are 23.7 Renko bars, right? 23.7 is how we're calculating that. We're using an ATR, right, to calculate the brick size. At a 23.7 bar, that's a $500 bar, right? So this is not for an account. Well, this would, to be able to trade this would really be I mean, at that kind of brick size to where your stop is a minimum of $500. To trade this effectively to be 20, 25K account, right? So not everybody can do that. And everybody has the resources to do that. We understand that. But you could still use this directionally, but then trade it with some short-term options. So there's different ways to do this. So you could participate in the directional cues here that you'd be getting from this template without having to have a massive account. So here, I'm not trading this. Right. These are 500 bar swings, right? So if you're using, so typically we in our day trading room, we use anywhere from a 12 to a 16 tick stop. Well, you're getting stopped out intra bar. You don't have time for the bar to finish because these, you got a 30 tick range here. So it's too big to trade given the volatility. So we go to shorter term options so we can participate in the directional bias here and benefit and triggers that we see. So it's the same thing, right? It's always the same, right? As I told you guys, it doesn't matter. You can just see here all the measured moves that are hitting, right? Every time you see a green line, that's a measured move hitting its target. So you can see here's a 50, this is a front run on the target. We go right up to a golden zone, right at the initial balance, down we come, likely to retrace here. Good. So, I mean, this is just going on all day long, and most of our members that are not participating here, they have no idea how many times this algo hits during the day. I've seen 15, 16 in a day, depending on the time frame that you're looking at. It's just all day long, measured move after measured move, right? It's just golden zone to target, or it's a 50, right? Here's 50, that went right to target. Just over and over and over again. So, do we want to... Do I spend a lot of time here introducing this material when, only 15% of our viewers, subs, and members are interested in trading futures, right? So it's, again, that's why we're back to trying to get some information from you. So there you go. We're trying to bribe you to get that information. We think that's a reasonable offer, and we just want to try and tailor new material and new content, new asset classes, and the way we'd approach those asset classes that's a good fit to the membership. Okay, with all of that said, I know that was a mouthful. I know I went longer. That's actually was longer than I thought it was going to be. All right, guys, with that, we'll take it over to Bitcoin and we'll get down to business. Okay, well, we're kind of picking up where we left off last week. It hasn't been a lot of movement here. So the last, I think last Friday was, we were right here, and we were just on the edge of this. Now we've had this little drop here. So as the market kind of in the sync with a risk-off mentality across asset classes, Bitcoin has weakened now. So we are vulnerable here. Now, the last, members have all seen this. So because I posted in the room, the last thing that we had here, this goes 707, and then we get the median line in the algo target to the tick. I mean, it's literally to the tick. Not a golden, because we did break the golden zone, but the 707, which I often talk about as a good place to put your stop. Just a few ticks under the 707, caught it, and then you got the perfect rip. But so let me take that off just to let's clear up the chart. All right, so that's the last. So now this is, you're starting to lean into the idea that this is sure looking like a 3, which would imply perhaps there's more to come here to the downside. So if this count holds, right, which is it's always been a bit of a wonky count here, but if we're going to hold here that from the largest degree here, if we go internal, if it's 1, 2, 3, well, we're trying to work through the 4 here, and we're starting to stretch the boundaries of alternation here, if you will. I mean, we've got a very short, simple little correction here. Now we're pushing it here. So it's certainly vulnerable. What's making this difficult here is that we can't quite finish it here. This would be an ugly finish. So if we have to, I suppose we could end up here, so that we could probably do it this way. So you'd be looking at this as an A, a B, and we'd come down here. So we'd have a running flat, and then this would have to be the 5. So we'd put in the 5 up here. So that would be completing the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Could be. It's a bit of an ugly finish, but it's possible. That would at least complete that impulse. And then if that's complete, now we're looking for the retracement. We'd be looking for something technical. Here, let me get this off. So then it would be, if that's a completed impulse, which it's not certain we're there yet, but if that's the case, then we just pull from this too. If that's the top, then we're looking for something down here, right? Just, we might as well start with what we'd anticipate would be someone, down here between 50 and the 618. Nice big volume down here. We've got all this prior structure. So if we're coming down there, Well, right. So again, members, I posted this yesterday. See this trend line here. I know it's a little bit hidden by the Vegas wave here, but if I'm just connecting these pivots, if that breaks when we get so it broke briefly here and then was quickly rejected. So this line here, which I drew, I don't know how many weeks ago, is just kind of connecting some structure. So if you look over here, it's just it has been sort of an area that has proven to be their support or resistance. And I've got it at 90.88. And if you at 98, 88, 99, or 98. So this has proven to be a zone here that it can't seem to break through. So we're just stuck in a rut with a big fat butt. Or here we're just going sideways here. We can't seem to get out of it. Now, the longer it stays here, it feels vulnerable to a retrace. So I was suggesting that if we broke this and closed below this trend line, we'd be vulnerable to something corrective that might look more along these lines that would get us down here to the 50 in this high volume node here. Well, here in visible range, that's our point of control. And then I would just kind of use a set of median lines as a guide here for where we might anticipate that. So if this is going to be corrective and come into this range, and we may or may not make the median line here, but we actually, in fact, we'd prefer not to, because then, well, I take that back. If this is the 5 here, it wouldn't matter. But if it's not and we're going to push higher, we want to be conscious of where that 1 is. So we don't want it to come down here too far. And you can see here potentially, and it comes down, tags the median line, blows up the impulse. So then we'd be stuck here putting the 5 here and having to live with this as the finish. So we'd have the running flat. You can dig a 5 out of that. So this would be the 5 of that degree, and now we're looking for the 2. So, pardon me, so we'd be looking for the 4 at this degree. So this would go here, right? We'd be looking at it this way, right? Well, the ABC would have to you'd have to relabel that. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 completes. Now, if that's coming down, right, so it's going to be a function of, are we going to get a 5 or a 3 here? If we come down and we get this 5, well, it's not looking so good for the bull case. If we come down in a 3, which we'd be anticipating. So if this is the completion of this internal impulse, which it remains uncertain at this point, well, then from here to here, we might be looking, and then I might take this and say, well, shift's going to be way too sharp. I can't really do a modified shift, same thing. So you've got to go to original, because we've got the pivot here is above this pivot. So original is all we've got as a guideline here as would relate to a set of median lines. I suppose you could also put the very small one on here and work it this way. Right, so that might point you down here. If it's going to be an A, B, and a C, well, perhaps if we do it, if it's A, B, and we come down here, we catch the 38. Now we're not much there, but there is a little bit of structure here looking left, and then we go. Well, then we know bull case is on, and this would potentially be the 3 here. So it'd be 1, 2, big 3. We complete the impulse here. This would be the 4 down here, and then we're after the 5. Might as well use the algo target if we're going to get something in this range. Now, ideally, you wouldn't want it that deep for a 4. You'd rather see it between the 23 and the 38. So if we can hold here, big if we can hold here, then you're looking for something like that to take you up to complete. Right. We shall see, right? So all just speculation at the moment. But it does feel a little top heavy here. So certainly, I'll leave it to you guys to draw those up. You know how to do them by now. So I pull this off here. Certainly this range here, if you see all these wicks here where we had the 786, and then here, let me draw it up again, and that last little set of pivots here. So if we're going to come down into this range here, if we break below this, yeah, that would be a negative for the idea that this is still yet to be realized up here, and that this is an ABC, and we're coming down here. So right now, where do we put it? We're not quite to the point to where you can put it with any conviction. We need more reveal from the market. Are we going to go down and break this let's go kind of this box that we're in? We can take it all the way up here. Are we going to break out of this box and then come down below to retrace deeper, which certainly is a very real possibility? We could come down here. Now, myself being a bull, if we come down there, well, I'm not freaking out. I'm just going to go from swing low to swing high. I know I'm likely to get some algo participation. Algo is not going to care about an expanded B wave, right? They don't give a shit. It's just swing low, swing high. So we come down here, something in this range would be attractive, right? We got this structure here, big high volume. Something down here, I'd be looking for buy opportunities here, right? Target doesn't change, so anything down here would be attractive. That's a pretty good looking move. we'll back into the count based on whether or not we get a 5 or a 3 here. Right? Remember, corrections never end with a 5. So are we going to get a 5 or a 3? If we get a 5, well, we're definitely vulnerable, right, to something along those lines here. But right now, what have I got? I could be an A. Well, this doesn't look like it's finished. So if this is A, B, we got to finish a C here. If it's 1, 2, we got to finish a 3 here. So either way, it's vulnerable to the downside. If we hold here, it's a little bit trickier actually. If I take that off, and if we start to rally, this count gets a little bit more complicated, right? So how do we label this? It's a tough one. It's almost triangle-like. So you might think to yourself, well, maybe I got A, B, C, D, E, something like that. But this would be very irregular, right? So we can't have this as the B when we wouldn't have the right price action here in pivot structure for a triangle. Oh, maybe make a case for an expanding triangle. I suppose we could do something like that. I don't love it here. So we want to stay. We don't go there unless the market forces us to. But right now, all of this structure here, as I was just kind of highlighting, these wicks down here, this is the support that we want to see hold. So if we're coming down here to test some of this, even the 38 would be fine. Again, is it a 4? What do we look like here? So there's no way to have any conviction. This is not particularly attractive to be adding to a fresh long here. You don't really have anything to work with. This doesn't look like it's complete. Whatever it is, I almost never short Bitcoin. So this would, is it even technical here? It looks like we're past. No, fuck. Jesus. Amazing. I would even question that. Right. So what do we do? From swing high to swing low, right to the golden zone. If I get it right on there. So we literally, no, right. It's not the 618. It's in the golden zone. And now if we're going to come down here, and we're going to get to this algo target here, well, that would keep us here in the context of staying above this structure here. This is trickier this is tricky count here. So this trend line break, with the wick through, I'd prefer to see this. If this is a retest, I'd like to see this hold myself. Otherwise, I think we're coming down lower. Let's get some of this off of there. Not a lot here. So if we get below, this would be kind of your last stand here in terms of the volume profile here. So we're going to get maybe some support here tied to these wicks that where we came down and were quickly rejected. But if we get below this, well, then this starts to look like we're going deeper. So I'm not adding anything new here, right? I'm plenty long, but I don't like this enough yet to say, okay, well, I know where I am here in this count. It's unclear. Right, and I'm one of the lone bulls in my camp here of my senseis. Many of them have a bearish view of it here. Until I'm forced to go there, I lean bullish. But this count is getting a little difficult to sustain, and it just feels top heavy. So if we're going to come deeper, again, we're not blowing up a bull case, but we certainly, if you're long here, you'd be deliberate about where your stops are. So right now, this is a reasonable play. Let's see, we had it here. I've got to change that template. Let's go back to get my 707. So we got to get under the 707. Shit, I thought I had it. Shit, did I have it? I thought I had it in there. There's 707. It's not coming up. Well, labor on here. So if we're going to do this like this, and we're going to come, you could use the 786. Any of this. If we break that, we're vulnerable. We're going down deeper. But if we just kind of hold here, we're going to stay in this chop zone. All right, if this is a 4, if it's still going over here, then again, as I said when we first started, we're just pushing the boundaries of what would be the right look, or as Elliott would call it, in terms of the size of the 4, the length of time of the 4 relative to this 2. So I think you're back here reconsidering the early parts of this count, which have been so problematic because of all the overlaps of the 1s, right? So you can't. I know you look at it and you want to make this the 1 and the shallow 2, but it doesn't. We overlap here, it's all the overlap. So the count is, you're getting forced, if you're going to apply Elliott here, you're getting forced into a 1 2 1 2 1 2 because you can't finish an impulse down here, right? And you can't make it because you're getting the impulses. Maybe you could work, shit, you can't even do it. You'd have to go 3 5 3 5. So you can't even get a diagonal to work down here, which is why we're forced into the 1 2 1 2 1 2. It's tricky, right? Bitcoin's never easy, never. But I would be, what are we using there? 80, well, so 8K and above, right? You hang on to the bull case. If we're going below that, then either hedge it or, here I'm back to talking about options. If we're coming down here, where we've got all this structure, you have to make an individual decision as to whether or not you want to take that drawdown on the anticipation that we're going to eventually go up and take out these highs. It's an individual choice and risk tolerance and trading plan. Right now, anywhere down here, I'd be cautious about holding on to trading longs. Right now, I make that distinction: investing longs, where you're in for the next 3 to 5 years, and money that you're trading, capital that you're trading right now in these shorter term swings, even here at a 3-hour. Keep a stop on it, right? Don't be reckless, because it's so easy, right? I've done it many times myself, right? You're thinking, okay, well, I'm gonna give it a little more room, a little more room. Now you're in trouble. All right, guys, there you go. All right, so I wish I had more to add, but we're just going sideways for the time being. So that's all I've got. All right, we'll hope you'll participate in that survey. All right, guys, with that, have a great weekend. We'll catch up with you next week.